I'm Alison Richards, and I'm the chaplain at Whirlow Spirituality Centre. And I'm joined today by Adrian Scott to talk about our forthcoming series of sessions, Questionable Manhood. Adrian, it's great to have you with me, and I wondered if you'd like to just introduce yourself.
Great to be here. Yes, I'm Adrian Scott. I am a poet, photographer, spiritual director, living in Sheffield. And in the past, I've done a lot of work on masculine spirituality and psychology, lots of men's retreats and rites of passage and all sorts of things like that.
Thank you. And I wanted to start by asking you why you've chosen this title for this series of 3 sessions that you're going to be delivering, Questionable Manhood, because some people might be wondering, what's that about?
What's that all about? Yeah. I chose it partly as a poetic device, if you like. It's something that's often thrown at some men, or they have questionable manhood. And I actually want to make that a positive thing. How do we question manhood in a healthy way? And what I want to do is use poetry, which I think is again, that can put people off. I've often said, oh, I'm going to read a poem, and half the group, you can see them thinking, oh no, that's going to be the thing that I did at school that I didn't understand. But the poetry that I've chosen is accessible, and it's a way of exploring certain issues around masculinity and manhood, in a non-threatening way. In a way that opens up questions, opens up the ability to explore what is, I think, very current sort of debate about masculinity and manhood in the sort of in the media. But I found in my life, trying to understand who I am as a man, what that means, what kind of journey I've been on, what kind of wounds I've received, how I've seen good examples of masculinity and manhood, how I've seen less good examples. All of that is what I'm looking to open up for people, really, in a safe place and in a safe space.
Thank you. And so I'm sort of wondering a little bit about who this course, these sessions are for, who might it speak to?
I mean, I suppose primarily I'd aim it at men. Um, I think within a lot of church settings, a lot of spiritual settings, men are deeply unrepresented because they absent themselves a lot of the time. So that would be the primary invitation for men to come and explore some of these things that I think we find it difficult sometimes to talk about, or we're carrying all sorts of assumptions about who we should be, what a man should be, or how we should conduct ourselves. And so that's the primary invitation, but also the invitation is to women to come along as well, because I think all of these questions are very pertinent to women as well. And the female experience of masculinity is part of what I want to explore, to help men understand some of those dynamics between masculinity and femininity, between men and women, that can be so difficult. Again, and I keep stressing this, in a safe place. My endeavor would be to provide as safe a container as possible. And I've got lots of experience of working in this setting in a way that opens up a healthy spiritual conversation about these things, and the various themes that I want to explore.
Thanks. And you said about sort of making it a safe space. So I'm wondering what participants can expect in the sessions. What might they be needing to be willing to do or say, or how would the sessions be?
I think primarily it's to show up and to be open. There's not going to be any pressure put on anyone to share anything. I will do some talking and some sharing of some of the poems that I've prepared by all sorts of people. I'm just looking at the list now. T.S. Eliot, Maya Angelou, a guy called Jericho Brown. There's lots of different, Emily Dickinson. So there's lots of different experiences coming through the poetry. So some of it will be to work with those poems and what they raise for people. And there'll be an opportunity to share if people want to what those things unearth, what they spark for them, and I'll guide that whole process, and then there'll be some music to give some of that a chance to settle in, and some silence, so it's convivial but gentle. We'll proceed carefully. But I hope that what I hope is that people will think, gosh, I'm glad I went to that, because I've managed to come to a much deeper understanding for men of themselves, for women of what makes men tick, and so the themes that I want to explore, the first one is masculinity inevitably toxic? There's a lot of talk at the moment about toxic masculinity. There's lots of talk about, the internet pulling young men into areas that are fairly difficult and toxic. I mean, my answer to that question is no. but we'll be exploring, where does that idea come from? Some poetry, a great poem by Maya Angelou, to sort of get under the skin of that and see what the male and female experience of masculinity is, and what what you can do for it not to be toxic, and to face some of those shadows that exist within masculinity. The second one will be, how do men become grown-ups? So I've done a lot of work on male rites of passage, helping men, often in midlife, to look at what's going on for them, and how those things, rather than pulling them down, can be a springboard to maturity, to growing up, and to becoming safe men in the world that we live in. And then the last one is, how do men find their souls? So, I think once you've had an experience that deepens you, that matures you, it sets you on that journey to, well, who am I? And where do I find my soul? How do I explore those parts of me that might be challenging? How do I explore my sense of vocation or call? What I'm here to do in the world. There's a great writer called Bill Plotkin who's written a lot of books about eco-spirituality, and he talks about finding, it sounds very engineering language, but the delivery mechanism for your soul in the world. What am I here to do in my family, in the work that I do, with the natural world, with the climate crisis? It's about sort of opening up the territory of the soul, if you like. Very ambitious for 3 sessions, and also to say that each is a standalone. So you don't have to come to all 3, but they do follow a pattern that would be great if people can.
Well, thanks very much, Adrian, and I hope this is going to whet people's interest and appetite for this. So if you're listening to this, watching this, and you'd like to know more, please go onto our website and look at this. So these sessions that are coming up, do book places if you'd like, and if you do have any questions, then do get in touch, and I really hope this might be of interest for you. Thank you, Adrian.
That's a pleasure. Thank you.